Welcome to Akhand Vidya, the first institute of impeccable wisdom. Let's discuss about MOKSHA, the freedom of human beings. The enlightening Akhand Yoga. Let me tell you what is a common statement of almost everyone I know since my childhood about MOKSHA. The end of the cycle of the birth, death and rebirth is what everybody is talking about. Now my question to everybody is, do you concur with the above idea that we should put an end to the life of a human birth, death and rebirth over and over, or there is something other than that as a moksha? General perception and faith which I see in most of the documents, the cycle of rebirth only comes to an end with moksha, liberation from the cycle of rebirth. That means you are not going to be born again. That is moksha. Moksha is the destruction of delusion that takes place when the individual becomes enlightened. Moksha is the process of merging with God, or as some one would prefer to say, recognize our identity with God. The Buddhist word for this is nirvana, cessation from rebirth. So, in other words, the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth is not at all promoted as moksha. Bring an end to the life. That brings to my mind one concept. Is the life of human being so pathetic that people are only suffering, they don't want to be born again? Is something which has always been of mine, which when I read about Vedas, Upanishads and other scriptures, I do understand the most important person in the whole world, in the creation from mineral kingdom to plant kingdom to animal kingdom, is the human being as a Lokpalan, the custodian and guardian. And that is why Aitreya Upanishad is talking about, which is a version of Rigved itself, which talks about the chemistry, all the atom, element, molecules, compounds, tissues, everything right up to the perfect human being has come gradually over a period. The ultimate form is a Lokpalan, the custodian. If this is the one which is ultimate, why did nature make the ultimate human being? To put an end to it, or it is to really go and explain the entire universe to the whole world through the human being? Because even Rigved says how the universe was created, how it's maintained, how it resolved is not known even to the gods who were created after the creation of the universe. But I am convinced beyond doubt it is a human being who can perceive, conceive, reveal the divine design of nature itself to the world, provided he is a perfect human being as Lokpalan, which cosmic Purusha is there in the Aitreya Upanishads. I am convinced from that point of view. So, for me, the perfect education, enlightenment, empowerment of 64 arts and sciences is the absolute essential for every human being. Anyone who can, knows, and talks of the walking, talking encyclopedia for every subject in the universe is a person who is free from all the problems, and that is moksha. Freedom from all the constraints and restraints of life, which gives you the wisdom of the highest order, that you have a perfect scientific answer to everything in divine mathematics, divine physics, divine chemistry, divine biology, and divine medical sciences to the world, is a person who is free from all the constraints. And I am talking about constraints, the restraints of human life, which are our own making, not the divine design. Divine design is the perfect one, replica of the universal consciousness, macrocosmic representation of the universe at a microcosmic or miniature level within the human body. Once we realize, then we will understand entire universe within the human body. That is what I understand. In the path of moksha, I am very clear there are four statements: Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Dharma Yoga. And I have many more things you're going to see as I move on. And that is what is moksha all about. Now come to the question, very simple question which I will be repeating again. Reincarnation is a theory which I do agree. I have come to the stage of DIVYANK, the divine design of nature, for the first time in the history of mankind, only in 2015. No one in the history of mankind had ever come to DIVYANK level with the perfection. The entire core of the universal consciousness, from biggest to the lowest, is made with that design only. That is what is Rigved, other Veds, Upanishads are talking about. And that is the divine mathematics which I am revealing for the first time till 2015, which took me almost like 60 years to come to that particular stage. But it is only because I have taken many births, again deaths, rebirths, and every life I learned something or the other about divine nature within my body and wrote about it, and the records were there within my Antaratma, which you call it Kundalini, you call it Aditi, you call it Prana, whichever it is, doesn't really matter. There are orbits around it which has all the feedback of the earlier lives very much there on, and I have died at particular stage and got birth from that stage and the next stage. That is what Tantra Yoga is all about. And this is what I'm saying. Reincarnation again and again is going to take you to better and better level, and more. Even now I have given the world DIVYANK for the first time in the history of mankind 2015. But I know I have miles and miles to go and explain more and more examples of it with the kind of impeccable wisdom which the world needs. Today's education system is very deficient because nobody knows the divine mathematics. Every mathematics is defective. Physics is defective, chemistry is defective, biology is defective, deficient. There are so many deficiencies which need to be rectified so that we have perfect knowledge for every student of the school, college, university, research scholar, authors, other things. The whole world needs only DIVYANK, and for that you have come to the reincarnation. To me, the moksha is that, and this is what moksha I am talking about. And that is Akhand Yoga's ultimate state. Now come to the question of Bhakti Yoga. Since I am made with the design with which the whole world is known, and I see that in devotion of Mata Vaishno Devi, Durga, Saraswati, Mahalakshmi, Mahakali, Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, Dattati, all put together. When I see these pictures of gods and goddesses which I have seen since my childhood, I understand this is beauty. Even Om picture for that matter. And then Karmyog should be like Lord Surya, which Maharishi Yajnavalkya talked about. His guru is only Surya, not anybody else. And for me also it's Surya, because I get up before Surya rises, I welcome him, I welcome all the divinities, I pray to them to give me enlightenment, give me Akshay Patra of the wisdom which Lord Surya gave it to everyone. And so is Ichha Mrityu Vardhan, that I should live comfortably without any disease at all for the last of my life. As long as I want to live, let me live. The day I find my body cannot really cope with me, I should be in a position to quit it within a moment. So I have got Akshay Patra, I got Ichhu Mardhan, I have also got Akhand as a Vardhan to know A and Z everybody, and nothing is happened in one day. It takes years and years of work to step and step, and that is what I am showing step by step, that this is what, and we improve. And how long will it go on? I have no idea. But this is moksha. I am free from constraint, trying to do better and better, more and more clarity, the whole core, and that is what Karma Yoga is all about. And then come to the question of Sanatana Dharma. I am very indebted to all the Brahmins of Sanatana Dharma who gave Mantra Vidya, Yantra Vidya and Tantra Vidya to the world. Now I do know there is implicit divine mathematics in Mantra Vidya, Yantra Vidya and Tantra Vidya, and that is Ganit Vidya I am talking about. And this is the Ganit Vidya. You can see very clearly on top is DIVYANK. 22 by 21 is the first stage of creation, 10 stages of development, and 0.344 are Panchabhutas, the 5 elements of Lord Shiva, Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, equivalent to 1.61. This is the divine mathematics with the perfection is created A to Z one by one. And in this picture you can see the symbol of DIVYANK, you can see 10 planets, you can see A to Z, and that is divine mathematics. The world needs it. And I am glad overtaking so many janmas after janmas, and I do not know how many more janmas I would like to continue. I would continue, the whole world is moving on. I would never put an end to this birth of cycle, because I think the best thing in the world's life is a human being itself. It is something to enjoy, not to suffer. And that's it. That is the beauty given in Veds, Upanishads and others. And that is what I'm sharing after experiencing within body and becoming the perfect. Even nearing 75, I'm as perfect as when I was 21 in Madras Medical College. Now come to the question. The entire this life put together is representing the Om which I put in the symbol which I made. This is the impeccable wisdom which is result of this life 1 to 1. Then come to the question. First revelation of my life, we can choose the place of birth, parents, relatives, friends, associates, even profession before birth, and that is because of reincarnation. I chose Katra, Vaishno Devi, Jammu, Bharat. Why? Because that was choice of my Aditi, my Antaratma, my Kundalini to continue to journey to why. But why did I take birth in Katra with my parents and other things is something which I'm going to reveal step by step. What I learned in the process of taking birth, this time Jammu, particularly in Trikuta mountain, Katra, and what exactly it means, I'm going to reveal that as a part of the continuation of moksha part of again and again births to go better and better. And this particular Trikuta mountain, the three mountains you can see, and three mountains by and large to me represent Lord Brahma, Lord Vishnu, Lord Shiva. All the three put together are there. Similarly, inside the cave, you see Mata Vaishno Devi. There are three pindis, three stone images. One represents Saraswati, one Lakshmi, one Mahakali, which is consorts of Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh. In the process, I can say 22 by 21 is Lord Brahma and Saraswati. 10 is Lord Vishnu and Lakshmi. 0.33 is Lord Shiva or Kali. That's it. That's exactly is a particular thing, the choice which was made. This is the ideal place to be born with and learn to grow step by step in the lap of Mata Vaishno Devi at Trikuta mountain and grow to this level step by step with her guidance, entire universe as such. And how it happened, I'm going to show you that one by one. Now, as I told you, Mahasaraswati is goddess of knowledge, Mahalakshmi the goddess of wisdom, Mahakali the goddess of moksha. So all the three, Gyan, Vigyan, Pragyan, Akhandata, materialism, everything, and including the constraints, the restraints of moksha, all the three are there in Mata Vaishno Devi itself. And she is the incarnation of goddess Durga. Let that be clear. Now, I have been in Sri Mata Vaishno University between 2005 and 2008. During those 3 years, I was given the privilege of going and seeing under the pindis of Mata Vaishno Devi what is there. I was made to understand by my elders there is a statue inside and three pindis are equivalent to three representations of Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh, and there is a body of 5.5 feet height, brown in color. With this concept is what Devi's picture is all about. I was given a privilege of seeing that with my eyes, once again confirm it with the permission of Sri Mata Vaishno Devi Shrine Board for almost half an hour 45 minutes with a complete place being at my call. And I think I'm thankful to them for giving me a chance and showing that Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh and Dattatreya are Saraswati, Mahalakshmi, Mahakali, Vaishno Devi as the goddess Durga. Both the things as the goddess Durga and Dattatreya I realized is there in this particular place. And everything else is there in that area which I am going to talk about it, and as I move on to the next stage of creation of Durga, the legend of Durga, and also the 10 Mahashaktis or Mahavidyas. Now the question is, I had the privilege of being born in Katra. Now I had the privilege of living in Pahalgam as a child, and also Srinagar or Marthand for that matter, during summer there and during winter in Katra. So I had the privilege of both Jammu and Kashmir as such, and Pahalgam was the place where I have lived comfortably during my childhood, and almost the places where recently 27 people were murdered there is a place where I have lived myself, and I can see the place is very difficult to conquer. And anyway, not getting into politics from that point of view, but the very fact I took place in birth in Jammu and Kashmir is also a reason which has made me to come to this particular stage. Also clear that also I would like to show as I move on. Then from there I had the privilege of going to Amarnath cave, and seeing this temple I realized the Shivling is equivalent to pi of 22 by 7, 11 by 7 on top, 11 and 7 underneath, and that is water element. In solid form is earth. When it's warm, it's water. When it is heated, it becomes steam. When it is heated further, it becomes vayu. And when it is heated to 1600 degree, it becomes akash bhuta. All the things in water, and that's what I realized. So beautiful is the segment, how it shows the colors over there. I've seen all the colors. I can understand how beautifully Lord Shiva is literally there, showing its representation in the form of water in all the 5 states. I think that was the privilege. In other words, the real seeds of Tantra Vidya, which I am revealing for the first time as 108 shlokas as such, was given by Lord Shiva to Goddess Parvati over there. And that is what moksha. Only perfect anatomy, physiology, biochemistry, psychology, once you know it, only then you can be free from constraints, the restraints of life, and that is moksha. And that moksha I realized as a child before I was 7 years in Amarnath cave itself. That was literally enlightening myself, and the whole thing had to be experienced and then shown to the world, which I've done over a period. Then come to the question of descent of Mahashakti is something which is spoken word by Sri Aurobindo also in the last life. And what it means, is the descent of divine soul true or not, is something which I would say is a true. As I told you, I am born with Aditi or Kundalini Antaratma as such before the childhood itself. That's reality. But further, higher Shakti in the form of Mahashakti, you call it Goddess Durga or you call it Adi Prashakti, is also experienced only then you will understand the higher consciousness, otherwise not at all possible. I had the privilege of high fever and temperature, and a golden light fell from nature, and I know I could see that, but after it fell on me I became unconscious, and after that I became much more intuitive, intelligent otherwise, and I think that is where my Antaratma as Aditi, the goddess Durga's, then goddess Vaishnavi, goddess Gayatri, and also the goddess Adi Prakshakti, all the universal consciousness entered into me because I had experienced that even earlier lives as such. May we wonder of Vedas, Upanishads and other scriptures are given because the divine consciousness by the Brahmins who had experienced the Antaratma, had experienced the Paramatma within themselves in Janmas and Janmas. Only those people can understand, and that is the Lokpalan, custodian or guardian by and large. I think that was the greatest thing. I became an instrument of Aditi, Gayatri and Adi Prashakti also thereafter. Now I am going to show, even at the young age, I asked for a sacred ceremony of Janau, getting initiated into Gayatri Mantra. That is what it is called second general birth of a true Brahman. And I mean Brahman you become only when initiated into Gayatri Mantra chanting by and large. Till such time, without wearing those 3 threads around your body and chanting Gayatri Mantra, and that before getting up before sunrise, and then chanting morning, afternoon, evening Gayatri Mantra with a concentration, contemplation of universal consciousness, particularly with sun. Only then you can become a Brahman, otherwise you don't become a Brahman at all. And seeds of Akhand Gayatri Mantra was shown in me in 1958 itself. But to realize from that, to come to this stage, the evolution of Gayatri Mantra, I am going to show you, which I experienced as I moved on in life. The first thing which Rigved talks about is simple Gayatri Mantra, which is there, Tat Savitur Varenyam Vargo Devasya Dhimhi Diyo Yonha Prachodhyat. It starts with Tat only, and Tat means divine nature. Let that be clear. And Savitur is sun, Varenyam is light. That divine light of sun is the Surya, which Gayatri Mantra is talking about. Then come to the Yajurved, is the Bhu, Bhava, Swa, Tat Savitur Varenyam, Vargo Devasya Dhimhi, Diyo Yonha Prachodhyat. In these three words of divine nature are shown, that is Bhumi, Antariksh and Swarg. And once these three are seen, that you see the solar system very clearly in the Yajurveds. First is the original, second you are seeing the solar system there, first is only sun, second is Bhur, Bhava, Swa, all the three. Your solar system you are going to see. When you go to the next stage, the Gayatri Mantra, it is the Om which was added. Om Bhur Bhava Swa Tat Savitur Varenyam Vargo Devasya Dhimhi Diyo Yonha Prachodhyat. That means Bhur Bhava Swa is Om. And I think once I realized, and this particular symbol which I have done was in 1995 as a symbol for my Akhand Foundation. And I realized how beautiful. But incidentally, this particular symbol I had designed in a much better way back in 1974 itself. I am going to show you as we move. And that was a beautiful representation of Mandukya Upanishad itself. But anyway, then go to Mahagayatri Mantra, which is there in Mahanarayani Upanishads. And it has got 7 Oms to start with. Om Bhur, Om Bhava, Om Sava, Om Maha, Om Jana, Om Tapa, Om Satyam. That is where the number 7 comes to play a very important role. There are 7 levels of consciousness within the Bhumi, within the sun, within the Antariksh, within everything. 777 is the most important. Then same Om Bhur Tat Savitur Varenyam Vargo Devasya Dhimhi Diyo Yonha Prachodhyat. Then Om Apo Jyoti Raso Amritam Brahm Bhur Bhava Swa Om. This is a mantra which is already there in Mahanarayani Upanishad. I think that taught me the importance of sun as a 0, sun as 1, sun as a 7 parts, and Bhumi as 7 parts, Antariksh as 7 parts, and thing. And that is where 2221 also comes from that angle. But this further made me realize that there is Akhand Gayatri Mantra, which is a further improvisation of Gayatri Mantra. Om Bhur, Om Bhuva, Om Swa, Om Maha, Om Jana, Om Tapa, Om Gyan, Om Vigyan, Om Pragyan, Om Satyam. So it become 10. And there are 22 Oms in Gayatri and 10 stages. So literally DIVYANK is there in this particular thing. I think that was an amazing thing as I moved on. Then the impeccable wisdom that human brain takes 7 years to form an integrated network of the full nervous system. First 70 years, you observe the nature and learn all the 64 arts and sciences by observing every nature with Antaratma as a guide, not from the books or otherwise. Do not let your be. As a matter of fact, gone and said no formal education to anyone should be given till the person is 7 years. Let them develop the brain completely, then go to school after 7 years so that you are not confused with the books which are defective. Your brain knows things as it has seen with its own 5 senses clearly. That is more important. I went to skate at the age of 7 only, not before that. Till such time I was talking between Katra and Kashmir by and large. My first wisdom which I learnt when I joined the school was Hito Upadesh, the Gyan Yoga. Vidya dadati vinyam vinyat yati patratam. Patratam ch dhan utpati. Dhanat dharam tat sukham. The right education leads to humility. Humility leads to casteless society. When casteless society is working together, there is a prosperity. Where there is a prosperity, there is dharma, there is righteousness, there is a comfort for everybody. The whole dharma, dharma, earth, kam, moksha, it starts with Vidya only. So and right Vidya means impeccable wisdom of DIVYANK alone is the one which gives you. Everything else is going to give you restricted thing. That the first wisdom I learned in Katra school when I was just 7 years, and that was written on the wall of one of the school's rooms. Then second wisdom I learned from Gita, Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga, this exemplary is do your karma to the best of your ability, don't worry about fruits. Only the person who is doing work for the universe for the love of it, without worrying about name, money, fame, anything for that matter, who is just learning through things just to improve the knowledge, without any bondage with money, name, fame, other thing, that person would only know, and that is the most beautiful statement of Holy Gita itself. As a matter of fact, my villa is also with 246, 247 only. And I think this is where nature also gives you, when you're born with it, everything falls into the place as an example. The third wisdom which I learnt was self-surrender to the nature, which is the Bhakti Yoga. Leave every dharma, award everything, come to me without any reward. Then I will free you from every evil. Freedom from every problem is moksha. I became an integrated part of Aditi and Gayatri thereafter. That means whatever dharma is, whatever the awards and other things, don't worry about it. Give it to me. Let me guide you step by step to this level. Only the divinity within you, you call it Aditi, you call it Gayatri, you call it Adi Prashakti, they are the one which are going to help you. Whether it's a Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, Dattatreya, all the gods, and including Agni and other thing. All what is there in Rig Ved, Yajurved, etc., and all the Upanishads is you have to experience with that with complete surrender. They, once you surrender to your teacher, which are divinity by that, only then they will teach you how to go it. If you have even doubt on that, you can never move forward in higher consciousness. Then the fourth victim which I learnt is the knowledge of Saraswati is very peculiar. More and more we share and spend, the more and more it grows. The least and least we share and spend, the knowledge starts reducing slowly. I learned that from one of the statement in Katra school, सरस्वती के भंडार में बड़ी अपूर्व बात, ज्यों ज्यों खर्चे त्यों त्यों बढ़े बिन खर्चे घटिया. That is what I explained in English, and that made me realize whatever I learned, I should share with the world for love of it, not for name, money, and otherwise. Whatever I learned, I would just express to anybody and everybody, but in the process I learned more and more I shared, more and more clear I became, and that is slowly over a period brought me to DIVYANK step by step. So most of us don't even share people the truth. We want to mislead people. As a result, you are only going to downfall yourself. Not. Only be honest, truthful, have intentions very clear. अच्छी नीयत है, अच्छी नीति है, अच्छे नतीजे हैं. दुनिया में अच्छी चीज की बात कीजिए. पहले अच्छे मानव बनिए, अच्छे कर्म कीजिए, अच्छा ज्ञान कीजिए, अच्छा विज्ञान दीजिए, अच्छा प्रज्ञान दीजिए, फिर आपका कल्याण होगा. That is what the fourth wisdom was. Then come to the question of goddess picture. It is very clear. This particular picture told me you should be like a Hans. Take all the positive things and remove all the negative things. Have the music within you. Have all the knowledge of Vedas, Upanishads, everything. Have the purity of the lotus flower. Have the purity of the sound consciousness. Have the purity of sun. Everything is there in this picture. This whole picture taught me what kind of knowledge Goddess Saraswati is giving it to us. And that is all the pictures of gods, the goddesses, everything are the living example. Our Brahmins were so great innovators of giving the divine knowledge in the symbolic form. I am thankful to them. They made my job very, very easy. Every aspect of Goddess Saraswati, Goddess Lakshmi, Goddess Gauli, Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, and all the gods and goddesses represent the universal consciousness. So idol worship is the something which has given me the knowledge. Don't see as an idiot. There the knowledge is the different aspects of all the things which is there. That's how we should see divinity. They're giving the knowledge. Only knowledge can take you to the next stage of consciousness. Then come to the fifth wisdom. All the languages of the world are deficient. The perfect among all the languages is only Sanskrit. Everything else is very, very deficient. But I do agree, even Sanskrit can be made even better with DIVYANK, and this symbolic language much better. And this is the where again DIVYANK is at 11, 16 and 24. I think this is perfect with all the combination which it can create will give you the knowledge which is perfect from every level. Then come to the sixth is the divine mathematics. All the art of language of nature is mathematics. Mother of science is mathematics. Conclusive science is mathematics. Every is dissolved with DIVYANK. This is thing. And what that is the knowledge with which we should write all the subjects from maths, physics, chemistry, biology to medical sciences with DIVYANK, and everything perfect. Only we should talk about it. Let's not talk about disease. For preventive medicine, we should know the perfect anatomy, physiology, biochemistry and psychology. That centers the DIVYANK. That is what I am trying to show. Create the whole thing very clear for the entire world. For the love of it, they can see my videos, my books and other things, and have uniform knowledge for every student throughout the world. And that is what humanity is needing for. And that is moksha by and large. To me is the freedom that I'm sharing, so that everybody reads that and will not have any of the suffering of human beings. That's why they would love to be born again and again as a human beings and move on to add what modern science is trying to do in technical world. But we need to bring in mathematics, physics, chemistry and saying applied part also that. Then you will have a world wonderful love for the world, and the world will become a peaceful place. And that is what Hitopadesh is talking about. Vidya dadati vinyam vinyat yati patatam patatrancha dana utpati dharam tan sukham. Down comes the seventh is the divine symbol which need. Mathematics is known, but convert into symbolic form which I have done. I think that's the seventh level which we have gone. And these are the seven things which I learnt over a period, step by step, has brought me to this. And having done that, I'm sharing that more and more applied part. For that matter, the best example is DNA of a human being designed by DIVYANK is much better than Watson and Crick's model, for which they got Nobel Prizes. Let's move on. Now the brilliant is, as a result, after 7 years of learning that and school, I had a brilliant academic performance from school, college, university till today, and my record is excelled in mathematics. No one in the world has a profile in academic even half as good as mine from school, college, university to this. Only when you are moving with impeccable wisdom, you have the answers which are perfect. Then your answer given in the question is what is given in the books, what are the defects and what is perfect. That's how I excelled from school, college to the university. No wonder I was far ahead of everybody in marks, which everybody was surprised, but I don't think they looked at my answers and seen. But examiners had seen, they found it, they excelled it. Then right up to 1964, I had learned to be very good in mathematics and I wanted to do research in mathematics, but somehow other things were designed to be different. But I am glad to admit at that particular stage that I did not go for abstract mathematical research at all. Otherwise, I would have landed up like Ramana Ramanujam to go to UK and learn modern mathematics and forget about the divine mathematics we know. When I see myself as a child in school in Katra, first standard right up to 8th standard, I could answer every mathematical concept including zero and other things just like that, as if I was walking and talking encyclopedia. Everybody was surprised. But I am glad that I knew it. But glad that I did not go to abstract to find the answer to those things which Ramanujam had to do. So he was fantastic. before going to UK, became fantastic when he came back to India. But UK is a pathetic state of his affair, and I'm glad I did not take. So I took up to medical profession, and that's what I would say. Nature had a different plans for me because of my moksha to be done in this particular stage. July 1964, my father suffered from brain stroke. He had a paralysis from which he did not recover, and I felt that I should become a medical doctor so that I can make the people prevent medicines, not suffer from that. I decided and cared for every patient for free of cost. For 30 years I practiced. I did not cost even one paisa consultation from anybody. I gave medicine, everything free to them so that they could prevent problems, and I'm glad in 30 years seeing almost 100 patients a day for 30 years. Not even one patient of mine who was under my care needed to be admitted in hospital. I think that was great because every patient was a research subject for me, and I gained so much of knowledge of myself from there, and that's what it is. So that was divine design. Glad I took up to medical profession. In the process, I had to understand step by step. For preventive medicine, I had to go on to realize what's the perfect model. That brought me to DIVYANK. Then the school was in 1964 from Katra, which had the only high school. I moved on to Jammu to join Sri Asram because that had a golden section to prepare for top position. The reason was I am a Brahmin by birth in a Muslim dominated state, which is politically thing. A Brahmin gets no place at all in any form. Everything is taken by politicians of Jammu and Kashmir. For that matter, entire world reservation is only based on that. So there is no place for that. Reservation is killing the whole system itself. But I knew very well that I had to excel so high that I have given the only choice for medical seat. So for that I had to move on to stage, which gives me the top position in the university, that there nobody can stop me getting the first in medical college by right, and nobody can deny that. That is where impeccable wisdom stands out, and Jammu was very clear. But my first challenging truth came only in Jammu. Since I had scored the highest marks in Katra school, almost 91%, unheard during those days, almost 30 to 40% more than the second person in Jammu in Katra school, I was admitted in the golden section of 9A and made a monitor because I had the highest marks. But one day the chemistry teacher punished a student, and Mr. Narsimhan, the form teacher, who was a best teacher in Jammu and Kashmir, wanted me to complain about teacher to the principal. Since the teacher was right, I refused to complain. Result, I was summarily dismissed as a monitor, and thereby I was treated like an untouchable person. He would treat me as if I am a demonic, and that is where I realized so-called the teachers who are recorded, awarded, other things are actually fit for nothing. He was a maths and English teacher. He did not even recover. But more and more he ill-treated me. More and more I became, you cannot ill-treat a person whose intention is highest. The result is, at the end of ninth, I broke all the records in that school again. And after that, the teacher had to come and apologize to me, for that matter, everybody. But subsequently, something happened. I had gone to golden section 9A. In 10th, I was sent to medical section, not to the golden section. And I refused to come back to golden section because there is no use in meeting these teachers who have only ego, no knowledge. Repeating does not really make you intelligent. It makes you only copycat. I think I realized in 9th itself. Then 10th I became very clear I am not going. So I stayed back in a medical section 10A alone. Did not go to 10K, which was golden section. But there I learnt something that I learnt in Katra school with Saraswati. Whatever I learned there from school teacher, including my teacher, I taught to Arun Kumar, who was sitting next to me in the bench next to me. He came as a close relative of mine, sitting with me. So whatever I learnt, I taught to Arun. The result, I got 532 marks in the higher secondary core examination, Jammu. board, which was the highest mark. Arun got the second one 502, and no other person got more than 500 marks. Can you imagine? 532, and second student is yours, forget about him. Others don't even get. You are almost like 5 to 6% difference between first position and subsequent position. Will never be repeated hereafter in anywhere in the entire university. This record is record, and that's it. I was certain that this record will never be broken and will not be broken. I am very clear about it. And this particular gazette of 1967, which was given by the director to me as a reward for my first position, is there, where my name is given with marks. This is a proof. What is more important, 11th also I did not go to golden section, I stayed in medical section, and after 9th, 10th and 11th, when I completed and I had to go for medical course, the provisional certificate was given. I am glad in this particular teacher, a whole organization gave me a certificate about the character as an exemplary person. He is an exemplary person. He cannot be compared with anybody. He is not a good, excellent or outstanding. He is just example, and that's it. And I wonder whether anyone in school level has been considered exemplary by anything and given on record he is an exemplary. I think that was the greatest reward for me, which I still carry with me. I used it for my date of birth and other things, and I leave it at that. Then my unexpected medical selection was done. When I applied, everybody tried to discourage me to get into medical college. You can do one more year plus 2 and then get into local colleges. You have to go to Chennai. I said, no way. I will go to Chennai, Madras Medical College, and be happy. But I made one thing very clear. Today, you cannot deny me the seat because I have the highest marks in 10th, 9th, 11th. No one anywhere is anywhere close to me. You got to give me the seat. I deserve it and I want the seat, and leave it at that. That is the discussion. And no wonder in July 1968 itself, I was nominated for the first medical seat in Tamil Nadu. And incidentally, second person who was awarded second seat was not in July, was not even August, was done in September. You can imagine, see, the first person is in July and second person is only nearing September. That shows how fraud is the whole system of selection. It is all politically influential thing. And I know Jammu and Kashmir by and large was given that privilege because of 370 and other things, and I am glad that we were trying to dissolve that, and I am glad that it has been dissolved today. Then my first science college was Loyola College. I am glad in that particular stage I learnt higher English, physics, chemistry and biology, and I had the marks right up to 100% marks, maybe the only person who got double distinction there, distinction and double distinction both. And I am glad that I am the only person who had that, and all the students who had come with a reservation, all of them failed in the first year itself. Half the class failed in first year because they were reserve candidates, did not have that. And I am very clear till today, medical professionals should be the only people who have aptitude, knowledge completely, who can understand concept. Otherwise, you'll have the idiot doctors who do not even know, and they are going to drug people and kill them over a period through the iatrogenic problem, not go for preventive medicine. This is something I realized in first year in Loyola College itself. Then come to the second was Madras Medical College from 1969 July onward. I studied there. The first, this was the Madras Medical Hostel, where we had 2 rooms, 4 of us were living. Abdul Haq Bhatt was from Kashmir, Shibhushan Sharma from Katra, Jammu. Then Ranganathan is from Tamil Nadu, near what you call Uti, and Ram Prasad is from born and brought up in America, and he also came. We 4 of us, fantastic team to work together. I am glad that we learned to study together, share with each other through the medical college. And I am also glad that Abdul Had Bhatt literally felt after second year examination of physiology that he would fail. First, then I sat the whole night and next day to teach him everything in physiology. He passed and we all passed in first shot and done very well together as a team. All of us are doing extremely well in our field. Abdul Had Bhatt has become a urologist. He is in UK. Ranganathan is a surgeon in Tamil Nadu, and Ram Prasad is a gastroenterologist in America doing extremely well, and of course I am there. Now the greatest advice which I learnt in Madras Medical College was Professor M. Cooper Manmoor. He was the Parsi and he said something which I remember today has become a part of my education through. Know something of everything, then know everything about something. Do not be a sketchy person. Take every subject and learn all the subjects, 64 arts and sciences, only then you can be perfect, otherwise not at all possible. The Red Fort, another thing, is the center of Madras Medical College, and Professor Kumar, I say, you are the one who taught me that I have to learn all the 64 arts. I cannot be pick and choosy, I cannot be specialist, I cannot be good specialist. I have to learn everything. I have to learn for preventive medicine, only wisdom can give it, and this is something which I learned very well in second year. Second person which I recommend is the Department of Physiology Professor Namachoyam, who taught me the neuroscience as one subject in Madras Medical College, and the book he taught was from Best and Taylor, and that in 1968 batch, and that is a book perfect in anatomy, physiology and biochemistry, all one book, and neuroscience is the best part, and I am glad that he was my teacher in Madras Medical College. Later he became my PhD guide for this, and I think the brilliant work between his teaching and my learning from him, I am grateful to him for giving me full freedom to learn on my own, not a copycat thing. Now I am giving the testimonial which he gave it to me after my PhD. He goes on to say, Shibhushan Sharma had done everything on his own. He is brilliant in every way. Whole research is his, not a copy of thing, but he starts from scratch without any knowledge and takes it to a conclusion which nobody can find fault. And my PhD was called highly commendable, unique in the world. I think he himself says it is the work of only Shibhushan Sharma, not anybody else. I don't think any guide will give a testimonial that whole work is student work, nothing. He is only a supervisor to see things. He makes sure that I do not make a mistake, that's it. Leave it at that, and I think that is one wonderful thing from him. Then comes the question of Professor Kamakshi, who was the chief of gynecologists, and Dr. Sona Kumari. These two people taught me what gynecology and mathematics is all about. And I learned to think, and I do still say, lovely teachers are remembered for life. They are there, this picture is there, and I think I'm glad that I talked to Dr. Sonakar even recently. And this is where I learnt that what is taught in human menstrual cycle through the world is this particular thing, and what I corrected is this is for world to see that no medical person in the entire world knows a perfect human menstrual cycle, which Shiv Bhushan shows no, and this is what has to be taught hereafter, and that's it. Then 1 year internship gave me the complete practice. What I learnt as a student in Madras Medical College, had to practice effectively on surgery, medicine, gynecology and preventive medicine, and learning all those 12 months was very enlightening, and learning preventive medicine fully, I think, is a wonderful period. Then there is something which I learned very clearly in as a house surgeon, when we were to give injection to the patients, and every patient came and asked me to give injection, and I asked them why, because when you give the injection is painless, and when others give is painful, and I have given that knowledge in this particular thing. The way you use the needle is more important. If you know the muscle how they are, use the needle in such a way they don't cut the muscles, you will have a painless injection for everything. I learned that way back in 1974 itself. I think that was remarkable more than 50 years ago. Then this first picture which I made was in 1974 Om, and this was made by me as a part of my work, and that's it. What I learned, actually the picture are done by me with before I was into spiritual science at all. But later when I saw Mandukya Upanishad is talking of Mother Earth as 7 parts, Yukara as Bhum for 7 parts, Makara as 7, and this. All what is there, 12 verses which is the best in Upanishad form, Mandukya Upanishad, is there in this symbolic form. I had done that more than 50 years ago itself. I think that was amazing. That is what reincarnation is all about. When you have learned in earlier life, you start from that, you don't even know why, because your Antaratma is giving you the knowledge. And that is what I meant. People who are perfect, in tune with Antaratma, they are the only one who have the wisdom. Anyone who is not in that is a problem. All copycat things who borrow, bug and steal do not even reflect whether right or wrong, will become only idiots whether we like it or not. We need to rectify that. We need to give them the wisdom. So we need to transform the books with wisdom of the highest order, perfect, not a defective thing which we find in the books today much worse than what was then in 60s and 70s to the best of my knowledge. After 50, within 50 years, we have deteriorated very badly, and primarily because the research is done in a defective way, not in the correct way at all. Then in 1979 I started Akhand Pharma. This is a symbol which I made. This symbol is all DIVYANK again. It has a tablet, it has got capsule, it has the water, it has also something which is where in research retort itself. And that is what it is. When you are in tune with divine consciousness, you do divine mathematics, your symbols also divine in nature. And this was done in 79, almost like 45, 46 years ago. Then in 1983, when I started making a new pharmaceutical company and new home, I asked one of my friends to get me a picture of Gita Upadesh. And by that time, I'm not into spiritual science at all. And this is a picture which was got for me, and the two things were given. This represent. But I know this picture is defective. I have 4 horses, not the 5 horses. Katha Upanishad talks of 5 horses. So is Gita. It's the 5 horses which is important, not the 4. I think that was again. Now this picture is lying with one relative of mine, and I do not even want to get it and have it with me. This is a picture which is very clearly voice of silence. There should be 5 horses, not 4 horses, because 5 senses are important. 5 lower senses, 5 higher senses, 10 senses, and then 10 dreams. Antaratma and Paramatma is there. What is this particular concept all about? And that is this is something which is there in Katha Upanishad's concept of 2 souls, which is there in Mundaka Upanishad also. And once that is understood, only then you can move on higher in the mind and consciousness to level which is unheard of. Then come to the question of Mata Vaishnavi. She is incarnate as the goddess Durga. And when I talk of God, this is a picture which I got it made in 1984 for my house in Gopalapuram, which is there, and I start with this day every day. And this picture also showed me at a later date the goddess Durga has 18 arms like Adi Prashakti, not of 8 arms which is there in Mata Vaishnavi's picture. And this is what the reflection is in periodic table. As such, I learnt there are 7 periods and 18 groups. That is divine mathematics which Rigved is talking about. Then incidentally in 1984, in the new building which was Akhand, I got up at night with a dream. It was exactly 31st October 1984 with a dream. I walked to the fridge and drank cold water. As the cold touched my heart, I had a panic attack. That was my first attack of tachycardia, and I would say that was the enlightening of Kundalini by and large to protect me. Come what may, I am there within you. Anything goes wrong, you will be protected, come what may. I think that is the incarnation, that is moksha, that is the freedom from constraints or restraints, that also Akshay Patra, also Mrichya Mritu Vardhan. Once you are truthfully, you can choose the thing, otherwise nature will make sure that you will immediately well taken care of. I think that was phenomenal. But that also realized that doctor gave me tranquilizer. I said I will not take tranquilizer. That treatment was tranquilizer. I said no, I am not suffering from anything, whether it is non-vegetarian food, whether it's alcohol, drugs, anything which is excitatory, inhibitory in any form, which can spoil my motor sensory system, I will not touch. That's why all the medicines I would not take at all. Even at 74, anything and everything is automatically taken care by my body and my Antaratma itself. I don't have to worry, but I take food which is sattvic in nature and do things systematically, not even one thing which is defective. Then this is a place of Pahalgam, which in 1987 I had taken my family, including my both sons, in there in Pahalgam. Then they wanted to go to Rishi Valley school, and I'm glad they went to Rishi Valley, and that was the state when there is no question at all. I think he is the realization the soul is one, pure vegetarian, and no concentration, contemplation, or anything. There is no examination till standard. Standard is done very well, which I agree. No child should be exposed to examination till you are in 6th standard. Let them understand perfectly, give them the kind of knowledge which I am talking about it, then let them give the answers beautifully out of the memory as an essays and things, not MCQs. Then this is the inquisitive thing which came up, and things would happen, and everything happens at the right time. Right after 40 years I have done independently of spiritual science work, anything nothing to do with religion. Then I was initiated with Simplified Code, that brought me close to the inner consciousness. And how the inner consciousness moved on, I have already explained. I'm just going to skip through to show that this is what I realized, that my consciousness was in Manipura chakra. It moved to Ajna chakra within 22 minutes with my concentration, not that. I think that was the inner experience within my body in 1991, which is like 34 years ago. And after that I experienced the movement of 5 things, how the shunya inside and outside would be seen. I have already explained. Then experience of Ida, Pingla, Sushmana Nadi and Kundalini Yoga was realized by 93 after learning Yogasanas, Pranayam, meditation, Tratkam otherwise. Then in 93 you can see the aura around my body with Swami Sukhodananda. This was 93, and I think that was a beautiful experience. And with that I realized that whole Kundalini Sat Chakra Nirupana is talking about 6 chakras, not sector. It's about reptilian brain, right up to autonomic nervous system and endocrine system, which is there is the reptilian brain, is what Sat Chakra is talking about. And that's the beginning of realization of Tantra as such, Sat Chakra, which is the best book on Tantra. Then then there is something which I would say. As you are with the moksha of the nature, what is going to happen was also revealed to you. I had a divine dream in 1983 that I have built a building, I am residing in that, and that building resembles like a Haveli. And when I come out of the building, when I look back at the building is gone. And in 1997 I built my building Akhand, and 2005 when I went to see after a settlement, 2009 when I went to change for future life, I found the Akhand was not there at all. It had been demolished. And this is what is when dreams are, you are moksha, you are with divine consciousness. What is going to happen tomorrow is revealed to you in the beginning in dream form. I have seen that all the knowledge which I am talking about has come to me in dream form by Antaratma showing this is how it was done. I think that is amazing. Now this is the building which I saw in the dream. Is the upper one is a Haveli. You can see that is in Rajasthan, and look at the building which I built in 1997 down is exactly the way it is, and I thought that was amazing. And by 2009 this building had to be demolished because nobody can take things from me and take it from me. That's one thing which I read. When you would work conscientiously and you're nobody who can hijack you. And one thing I make it clear, if you are honest, truthful, nobody can cheat you. You just move on. People will come, people will go, but they will only pay the price, not you. I think that was a bigger example. You do your karma to the best ability, don't worry about fruit. You will taken care of. I don't think I remember even one day in life which I can say I was unhappy. I think I've always been happy. I will always be happy because Satchit Anand is my inner consciousness. Then comes to the interview which I experienced in 1994. Then this came to University Madras Medical College when a research was done for PhD work. And when I learned that normal EEG is 10.5 hertz with throughout the posterior front, when mind is erect, eyes are closed, but rest of the brain does not show. But what I realized, this is a pilot study, you can see between 93 and 94 the transformation. And further we found that experimenting with others that things were improving in the process. And then by the time I came to 95 further, that improvisation came improve, and I realized that we can move on to the higher consciousness one by one. And then for PhD work, you can see that with the eyes closed, both the patterns are identical. But the pattern changes in me upper one, that I can produce more of with eyes open, alpha and total during samadhi is more than anything else, which is almost 3 times, where the others are not able to produce alpha with open eye. That was the enlightening part of my PhD work. Then initial studies were done and we moved on to the next stage by doing experiments. And then I also realized that I am able to do that. Why I am able to do, maybe the question I put to Mata Vaishnavi and show me. That's the time I realized that voice inside said, you have come back home, listen to this for the rest of your life, everything will be revealed to you step by step. And then first thing was to make a charitable trust, Akhand Foundation I made, then make a charitable trust logo, this was made, and I think once I came to this particular, stop it, this you have done it. And it was this, and over a period I realized that how step by step I moved on to this, and this was booked in the 2002. Akhand, an essence of universe consciousness, was published, which is unique in every way. That by that time I realized that I had learned what is Gayatri Mantra, what is Gayatri symbolism, what is this symbolic represented is very clear in this. That's the time when I realized that if you are the person, Antaratma, you know everything in the divine nature. If you can make me, you have made me understand animate and semi-animate. Can you make me do inanimate form? And this is what I was made to do. I think that was phenomenal. I have already explained about this picture, how I learned 0, 1, 7 and right up to 50 in this particular stage. Then I gone on to the next stage to show that once you are in tune with universal consciousness and you are moving completely step by step, with the closed eyes I can produce 8.5 hertz through the brain, maybe say 1024 parts of the nervous system, 8 hertz with eyes closed and 8 hertz with eyes open. And if somebody can do, you are in tune with universal consciousness of Akash Kosh with the records of the past, present and future, then entire universe is there, and that exactly is the center of consciousness of moksha. Moksha means you can take birth, you can come to this stage, entire world is there. If you come to that Satchitanand, you are going to share with that. Such a person would love to be born again and again, and I would have taken so many births, and how many more births I would continue to do till I can go on, because there's so much to learn about it. Because more and more I can, more and more better it is. And in the process we come to the last, I think essence is this. I think leave it at that, is already know the 1 hour. Thank you very much.